pledge.
Let's talk about that with Grover Norquist. He's the president of the group Americans for Tax Reform. He's joining us right now. His new book, by the way, is called Debacle: Obama's War on Jobs and Growth and What We Can Do Now to Regain Our Future. What do you think of what the former Florida governor named Jeb Bush had to say today, Grover?
Well, he kind of stepped in it a little bit. Before he did that, he actually said something useful, in that when he was asked, well, what if we could get rid of some deductions and credits? And he said, that would be fine as long as you cut tax rates dollar for dollar so it's not a tax increase. Now, that is almost verbatim the Taxpayer Protection Pledge. But then he went on to kind of insult Governor Romney because Governor Romney has made a written commitment to the American people. Said, when I get to Washington, I'm not going to raise taxes. The problem's too much spending. We're going to reform government. We're going to spend less. We're going to have less debt. We're not going to raise taxes. So when I go into and see a problem in Washington, like Obama's overspending, I'm not going to raise taxes. I'm going to reduce spending. And unfortunately, what Jeb Bush said was that was outsourcing his principles. And in point of fact, what Governor Romney and most Republicans have done is signed a pledge, not to me. That's what Harry Reid, the head of the Democrats in the Senate, likes to say. But the pledge is to the American people. It's on our website, her.org. Everybody can see it. It's on most candidates' websites, so you can see that they made that commitment to the American people. And so Jeb Bush really misspoke and insulted Romney and shouldn't have.
So from your perspective, does this disqualify Jeb Bush as being Romney's running mate?
No, because, look, Jeb Bush hasn't run for office for 10 years. He's not used to Washington politics. He should have known that the number one thing Democrats are interested in. Van Hollen is the head of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee. He doesn't like the Taxpayer Protection Pledge because it is how Republican candidates and a couple of Democrats make a written commitment to the American people that they won't raise taxes. It's a very powerful way to have credibility in committing not to raise taxes. It's very important that the Democrats break that, because what they want is Republican fingerprints on a tax increase that would pay for Obama's bigger government rather than the Republican strategy, which is to stop Obama's overspending and not raise taxes. The Ryan plan brings the budget into balance. The Republican plan that Paul Ryan of Wisconsin has put together and that the Republicans have twice now voted for in the House of Representatives, that brings the budget into balance without a tax increase. We don't need a tax increase. So we need spending restraint.
So from your perspective, someone like, let's say like Rob Portman, the Republican senator from Ohio, who has signed your pledge, would he be more acceptable as a running mate than Jeb Bush?
Well, Portman would certainly be a very strong vice presidential candidate. He has both taken the pledge and kept it as a congressman, senator. He knows that pledge is to the people of Ohio. Bobby Jindal, the governor of Louisiana, has kept the pledge, taken the pledge, and kept it as governor of Louisiana. In very difficult economic times, he's had a lot of reform as a result. I think Rubio of Florida, who is looking as a possible vice presidential candidate, has both taken the pledge as a state legislator, as a senator, and kept it. The modern Republican Party, almost all the elected officials there, have committed in writing to the American people that they're not going to raise your taxes. They will reform government.
Grover Norquist, thanks very much. I think we just heard three potential candidates that you like, Rob Portman, Bobby Jindal, and Marco Rubio, as possible vice presidential running mates. I suspect there are some other names out there as well.
I don't want to get in trouble by leaving somebody out. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think Jeb Bush necessarily is your top choice, but that's just